Tomorrow we're going to discuss the tutorial for we've done forecasting, is it? I think. Yeah, we've done forecasting. We're going to discuss tutorial for decision analysis as well as tutorial for string theory. Yeah. Okay. How many of you are young? Take a look. 11. Okay. Means alright, I'll start. I will just share the slides for string theory. So Thai fly, right? The first class that we conducted, so we have a first class on 17th of March. Then now it's toward the end of the modules, the last chapter, string theory. Everything go according to the plan. In fact, it's 1 week advance from our plan. So again, as I remind you a couple of times, make sure that everything you want to do, you must plan. Without plan, then you plan to fail. Okay. All right. So Chris, what appear on the screen now? Is it doing analysis of string theory, right? Okay, I'm going to start record. And before I press the recording buttons, I'm going to stop. I'm going to put my camera off. All right, so this is the last chapter for the modules, string theory or string analysis. So let me adjust my slides. There's something blocking my view. All right. Chris, do you ever have the experience of stuck in the queue? Long queue. Yeah. Most of the time, is it? Okay. So, but why do you sort of like, do you ever think of why you need to queue? Because example, if I'm the store manager, if the store manager, definitely I will sort of like do some planning or calculation to make sure that the counter, we call it counter. Normally we call it as counter or cashier, but in this topic, or perhaps I start with introduce to you one term. Instead of calling it as counter or cashiers or whatever, in this topics or in this chapter, we call it as server. Server means referring to the so like counters or cashiers that normally we name it in that way. All right. So if I'm the store manager, that definitely I will do our plans, how many server that should be open or should be there to serve my customer. So the way that perhaps I will use, maybe it's a simple way. Maybe example, if I'm the store manager, perhaps I will do a study. How many customers could be served by a server in 1 hour? Example. So example, if I'm saying that a server could serve example 10 customer, okay, per hours, per hours. Then subsequently, if I'm the store manager, perhaps I also going to gather data that how many customer visiting my store in between an hour. So number of customer per hours. Example, I make it easy, 100. So from there, in fact, I can start calculate like if based on the data that available, I know that there will be 100 customers that would visit my store. I know that one counter or one cashier or one server could serve 10 customer, 10 customer. So the number of servers that are going to open for my customer will be 100 divided by 10. Then I should open 10 server, right? Am I right? Right? Okay. So I think every 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 store manager is going to do this. But why? Even though they've done this, but there was still a queue there. Why? Why? Is it something wrong with the calculation? Then why? Why there's still a problem there? If I'm the store manager, I have done this type of calculations, my cashier server can serve 10 customers per hour. And I know in average there'll be 100 customers visiting my store. So I prepare 10 counter, 10 server. It should be all right. Right? But why still there could be a queue? Why? It's because,
Sometimes peak hour.
sorry,
Peak hour, is it? Sometimes
peak hour. Yes, exactly. Peak hour. Peak hour means what the mean by peak hour? Means the customer will not arrive the store at a constant rate. Am I right? So between an hour, between an hour from 0 to 60 minutes, it could be the first 40 minutes you have 0 customer. All the 100 customers turn up in the last 10 minutes. So the reason that even I have planned accordingly based on data available, but there's also a possibility that there will be a queue there. The reason because the way that I apply to calculate the number of servers that requires, I consider customer will arrive or customer is arriving at a constant rate. But in reality, this is not going to happen. Am I right? So what is the problem now is the calculation consider constant rate, but in reality not. So at certain point between 1 hour, when the customer arrival rate is more or bigger than the server rate, or how fast a cashier can serve a customer. If the customer arrival rate is bigger than the server rate or the service rate, the service rate, better, service rate, then end up there'll be a queue. So that reflects that in fact the calculation that use an average based on so-called the normal distribution cannot be used in analyzing queuing theory. So this method we cannot take average. So before we go into the detail that what we can use instead of using normal distribution, any problem if there's a queue that if you are the store manager, do you take it positively or you take it negatively when your customers start queuing? Do you feel that it's good, that it reflects my business good? Or you think that this is a loss? What do you think? Loss, correct. Loss. So why there's a loss? Because because if from the quality perspective, those that you have to quality management with me, from the quality perspective, you want your customer satisfied, correct? So you must do not let your customer queue. Okay, that's customer satisfaction. All right. So, but if you are the store manager, do you want to solve the queuing problem? Do you think that you should solve the queuing problem? Yes or no? Maybe yes. I think your answer is good. Maybe yes. Why maybe? It depends. You see, because queuing issue involves 2 types of costs. Okay. So what are the 2 types of costs that involved in queuing? One is, example, if I'm the store manager, I start seeing my customer is queuing at the server. So perhaps I can open another counter. But if I open another counter, that incur service cost. I need to pay another cashier because I'm opening another counter. So to resolve the queuing issue, me as a store manager, I know that it will incur service cost. But if I don't want to resolve the queuing issue, what is the cost that we incur? It's a cost that we call waiting cost. Waiting cost. What is waiting cost? It's a loss that you might incur when you let your customer queuing. Why when the customer is queuing, then there's a loss. Okay, a study showing that example. If today, if there are two stores, this is a bit difficult to explain. If there's two stores, if there are two stores, if I'm the consumer, and these are the two regular stores that normally I visit, okay. And then for my observation, I know that normally in store A, if I need to queue around 15 minutes. Okay. Then store B, if I need to queue perhaps maybe 3 minutes. Okay. All right. So if there are two stores available, so assumes you are the customer perspective. Which store that you will visit, you will definitely go for store B, right? Am I right? So there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity from consumer perspective. How about from the store manager perspective? From the store manager perspective, if Chris is my customer, and Chris aware that it took 15 minutes to queue, and now is example, the store is not yet open, right? Okay, example, now it's 10 a.m. Chris go out to buy something, and he must rush back to the hostel by 11 a.m. because there's online class with Dr. Tan. So Chris is only have 1 hour available. Okay, I go beyond the scope a little bit. Like Chris is only have 1 hour available. So if my store, the queuing time is 15 minutes, what Chris will do is Chris will spend maybe the first 30 minutes, okay, to buy something for my store because he knows that he need to stop and go for queue for 50 minutes. Then only he can reach the hostel on time. But if my store is with 3 minutes waiting time, then the purchasing behavior for Chris will change. Chris perhaps will spend 45 minutes, look around the store, try to buy something from my store, and then only he will go for queue. He will go a queue. So relatively, the time spent by the customer, the behavior of the customer will change. The customer will tend to spend more time look around with my store, and that will perhaps increase my sale. So that if I let my customer to wait instead of 3 minutes, the customer need to queue for 15 minutes, then they'll be lost in so-called waiting time or waiting cost. So this is the meaning of waiting cost. Okay, do you get what I mean? All right. So as a manager, nobody answered me. Right? Do you get what I mean? Is that? So back to the questions. If I'm the manager, should I resolve the queuing issue? It depends. I need to compare. How much I need to spend, to resolve the issue of queuing versus what is the loss I incur from the issue of the queuing. So we need to compare these two. Comparing is our layman term, normally we call, but a proper term is you need to look into the trade-off. We call trade-off. Trade-off between service cost and waiting cost, and then to see whether is it worth to proceed. So this is what we're going to learn today. Okay, we're going to learn about how to compare the additional cost that involve when you want to improve the queuing issue. This is the additional cost that you want to that you need to invest to solve the queuing issue versus the cost that incur when your customer is waiting. Comparing these two costs in order to make a decisions. This is the whole purpose of the module, right, for decision making. So as a store manager, you can decide whether, okay, like, okay, just let the customer queue, no problem, because the cost that involved of resolving the issue is higher than the waiting cost. Or you might come to a decision that, oh, I need to solve this queuing problem because it's a loss if I let my customer keep on waiting instead of queuing. So if that's the case, I need to improve my service. How to improve? We're going to talk about that later. Okay, so this is the key thing that we want to do today. We want to talk about how to compare service cost and waiting cost. So, but how to do this comparison? How to do this comparison? To do this comparison, that we need to calculate something that we call operation. I think it's operating. Operating. We need to calculate something that we call operating characteristic for queuing. Okay. In order for me to compare the service cost and waiting cost, I need to know how to calculate operating characteristic for queuing. So there are 8 operating characteristics for queuing that we're going to discuss today. Why we need to know why we need to know the 8 operating characteristics? Because we are going to use these 8 operating characteristics to make the comparison. So these are the something that we want to learn today. What else that I should tell you? Whatever that I explained to you now, like in fact, it's appear in the next couple of slides, but I do like to read the text. So I explain to you by telling you sort of the story between me and Chris. So what else I can tell you? Okay, perhaps I did. As I told you earlier, you see, the calculation using the assuming customer arriving the store under the constant rate is proven that not suitable for queuing analysis. If that's the case, we are not going to use normal distribution. What are we going to use? So service, or we call in order to do analysis, there are two things that we're going to use. Okay, one is what we call customer arrival rate. One is we call service rate. Okay, means I'm telling you that this chapter is to compare service cost and waiting cost in order for us to make a decision. Should I, as a store manager, should I resolve the queuing problem? If yes, how should I resolve? This is the main purpose. But in order for me to make a comparison, I need to know how to calculate the 8 operating characteristics. These 8 operating characteristics not so difficult as far as you know what is the customer arriving rate and what is the service rate at the server, then you can calculate all the 8. Okay. Then I was also telling you that normal distribution is not applicable for queuing. So what distribution are you going to use? Arrival rate, we're going to use Poisson distributions. Something that perhaps you didn't learn in business statistics. You should learn this, in fact. And service rate, we're going to based on exponential distribution. So we assume that customer arrive following Poisson distributions, and we assume that the server can serve the cashier. Server is serving customer at the rate that according or based on exponential distributions. So these are the two distributions that we will apply. Then perhaps since we're discussing this, I'm going to introduce to you two symbols. Arrival rate is representing by lambda, and then service rate is representing by mu. So why I'm telling you this at this moment is because, again, I repeat for the third time, the purpose of this module is to make a decision on should we solve the queuing problem? Yes, what should I do? In order to do this, I need to calculate the operating characteristic. These 8 operating characteristic formulas, if you refer to the formula only involves 2 parameters, lambda and mu. Means if you know lambda, you know mu, we can calculate all the 8 characteristic for queuing. Okay, so far do you understand that I try to share with you? Yeah. Okay. We look at the slide. We look at the boring slide, and then we back to this story. I don't like to read this one by one, and then example, if without telling you the story of me and Chris, then we will do it this way. Most operation have sufficient server capacity to handle a customer in the long run. Customer, however, neither, right? But whatever that appeared in this slide, in fact, I discussed earlier. I was telling you that if I'm the store manager, I will consider 100 customer divide by 10. I can serve 10 customer per hour, then I 10 counter. Long run, look like it's okay, but the problem is customer did not arrive in a constant rate. Okay, so therefore, if the arrival rate is faster than the service rate, then queue start building up. Okay, start building up like queue. So that is what I have explained to you earlier. So what this is talking about like, okay, should we resolve the queue issue? That is depends on the result of the comparison. So we call it as a trade-off. Hey, where's my pointer? The trade-off between service cost and waiting cost. And we're going to do it using probability. What probability I told you earlier? If lambda we use Poisson, if mu we use sort of like exponential. Okay, so why we want to do this comparison trade-off is for the manager to make a decision. Make a decision. So whatever they explained earlier in fact in the slide, but if you read the sentence or the text of the slide, perhaps it's difficult to understand. Then what explained here? What is here? Okay, average and long run based on this average. Okay, like this is a basis for decision making. Okay, so whatever that I explained in the first slide here at the cover page, in fact, is also available in the slides. It's a bit theoretical. So any question you want to ask before I proceed to the calculation part? Or before we talk about calculation, there's one more component we need to discuss, queuing discipline, how to queue. Any problem you ask, you understand why you want to study queue analysis? That is the reason. We want to know whether should we resolve the queuing. Okay. Any questions so far? No, all right, good. Okay, now next. Here, before you look into the calculation, there are few models that we can apply to calculate the operating characteristics for queuing. But which model to apply is depend on 4 factors. Mean there are more than one set of formula that you could use to calculate the 8 operating characteristics. There are 8 operating characteristics, but there are at least three set of formula that you could use. We only learn one set, but why there are 3 set of formula is because the discipline of queuing is different. The queuing discipline will be different. And this differences in the queuing discipline is driven by 4 factors. These 4 factors, 2 we have discussed, which is I discussed in the cover page. We have discussed 2, arrival rate and service rate. Okay, there's another 2 that's yet to discuss. So these are the factors that influence the so-called what? the frameworks of the queuing. Okay, what is queuing discipline? Queuing discipline means either, example, single server or multiple server. What does it mean by single server? Single server is there's one queue and one server, single server. You queue and you will be served by a single server. In the case of the store, perhaps it's you create cashier, there's one cashier there, and then you queue, you'll be served by one cashier, single server. But there'll be also a discipline that already is aware that you have multiple server. Still one line, customers still queuing one line. However, there are more than one server there. Okay, that I think you have experienced this, right? Chris, do you ever come across this type of queuing concept? Yeah, right. Okay. Where do you see this? Sorry? Okay, yeah, fast food. You queue and then it depends on which counter complete their job, and then you go to the particular server. So this is multiple server. Example, these two discipline call for different formula. And definitely multiple discipline formula is more complicated than single server. I would say depends for you. Maybe it's fortunate. If you're lucky, for me, maybe it's not lucky. You only this chapter or this module is only going to cover single server. We are not covering multiple server. Multiple server definitely is more complicated than single server. So a discussion purely focused on single server, not multiple server. But there's a way that you can apply single server formula into multiple server also. So this is so-called the first factor, queuing discipline. The second factor is the calling populations. It's either it's a closed system or open system. What does it mean? It's either the population is it fixed or unfixed. If you're reading the sentence, quite difficult for you to understand. Example today, we are having we are having face-to-face class. Example, is that a dream? Like we wish we can do that, but I don't know how this could happen. Perhaps you have no chance to have face-to-face again until you graduate. We don't know. No? Okay, example today, if we are doing face-to-face class, then I'm sitting at the lecturer table in the class. That when was the last time that I sat there? I think it's more than a year back. Okay, so example, I'm sitting there and I say, I want to check your tutorial. Please come to my desk one by one. Okay, if that is the one if that is a scenario, then you all will start queue, am I right? Queue, and then because I want to check your assignments one by one, start queuing. How many will be in the queue? How many students will be in the queue? The max. Class 25 lah. Cannot be 26, eh? The cleaner come and collect the dustbin and queue. No, cannot be. So in this case, this is called finite population model. I know I have the fixed population. I know it's 25. I know that it's 25, will not be more than 25. This model of queuing require different set of formula compared to infinite population model. What is infinite population model? If, example, I open a store, okay, then I have 3 servers. How many customers will be visiting my store today? Example, I'm selling nasi lemak lah. I'm selling nasi lemak today. I got one server, okay. How many customers will be visiting my nasi lemak store? Take away lah, definitely, because it's FMCO lah. It could be 0, nobody like my nasi lemak. It could be the whole kampung come. Satu kampung semua datang beli nasi lemak dengan saya. It can be infinity a lot. So that is open system. Infinity, infinite population. Okay, infinite population. And then finite population basically is so-called cross population. So in the case of a normal queuing phenomena that you've seen, do you think it's under open or closed system? Like example, you say you went to Chris, you said that you went to fast food. password, is it closed or open system? Open. They don't know how many customers, they don't know. Okay. So previously, I said previously is an open system. It's an open system. Therefore, this model, this chapter, we are focusing on open system. We are not focusing on cross system. Okay. So this model this chapter is focusing on single server open system. Okay. But we just hold on short while. Do you think that at this moment, as per today, start from yesterday, do you think that open system is still applicable in most of the store? Example, we say that example, Tesco at Taman University. Do you think that today they should use open system or cross system? Normally they should use open system, but today maybe cross system. Why? exactly. Means perhaps they can apply cross system. The fleet per hour only have 80 customers. They only allow 80 customers to go into the do their shopping there. Like so, and then the max is 1 hour example. So if that is the case, they can use cross system. That's why I say. That's why I was telling you that nothing remain unchanged except change. You see? Traditionally, all the while we are using open system, and then this module also designed to study open system, but it's XMCO perhaps we have to learn cross system as well, but it's too late to change the module today. So we are going to talk about open system, not the cross system. All right, so arrival rate I already introduced to you at the beginning of the slide at the cover page. Arrival rate basically is referring to the how fast the customer arrive, and we assume that the arrival rate is correct, Poisson distributions, and the symbol for arrival rate is lambda. Okay, service rate mu, follow exponential. Yes, I mentioned to you. Okay, so it's how fast a server can serve a customer. So by knowing these two, lambda and mu, then you can calculate all the 8 operating characteristics of the queue that you intend to study. Okay. What are the 8 operating characteristics? So this is a summary of the component definition. So in our case, we are using open system, first come first serve method. Then we are studying single server. So yeah, here we are sort open system, first come first serve, Poisson arrival rate, and exponential service time. It could be a cross system, it could be a multiple server, but it's not covered by this module. All right. Then this is arrival rate, this is service rate. So if the arrival rate is smaller than service rate, then it's good. There'll be no queue. There'll be no queue. Okay, so I was telling you that by knowing the lambda and mu, then you can calculate all the 8 operating characteristics or operation characteristics. What are the 8 operating characteristics? Based on the mu and lambda, you can calculate the probability that no customer are in the queuing system. Based on these two, you can calculate what is the probability that today you come to my store, there will be nobody at the queue. All right. Before I continue, I'm going to explain to you 2 things, or maybe until the second point I need to explain to you. So if this is the probability you want to calculate, then this is the formula. This is the formula of calculating the probability that no customer in the queuing system. This is the formula. You see, it's only involved lambda and mu. This formula will be given if final. However, it's only the formula PO equal to 1 minus lambda divided by mu without telling you that this is probability that no customer are in the queuing system. So probability P, no customer, 0, PO. Okay, you must remember this. I'm going to ask you later. Then the second is probability that n customer are in the system. Okay, you see. queuing system and system, these are two different things. What are these? What is the main difference between these two? So I always like to use one example is clinic. Your clinic, I think is easier. Example, this is any of the clinic. When you reach a clinic, this is the door. You have to wait. An example, this is the room for the doctors, the medical doctor. You have to take the number, then you have to sort of like sitting there and wait until your number is called. Only you will go into the doctor's room, right? Am I right? Good? Am I right? Okay.
Yes,
So
doctor.
system here, probability that n customer are in the system means that the probability that, example, n is, example, I put n3, 3, yeah? Probability that 3 customers, the 3 is referring to the total customer that of patient that queuing, waiting, and also customer that in the room that receiving service from the doctors. So this is called system. Queuing is only referring to those that waiting outside the doctor's room, excluding whoever that inside the room there. Is it clear? Is it clear? Clear? Okay, we continue later. I'll give you more example. So if I want to calculate the probability of n customer in the system, so this is a formula. Again, you will see the formula only involves lambda and mu minus PO, which is PO is 1 minus mu lambda divided by mu. So this is a formula for to calculate what is the probability that there will be n customer in the system. Okay, then average number of customer in the system. Now instead of probability, we will calculate average number of customer in system, mean how many customer in the clinic, including those that waiting and those that in doctor's room. So the formula of this is L. L stands for length. What is the length of the queue? So it's representing the number of customer. Average number of customer in the system is equal to lambda divided by mu minus lambda. Again, involve only lambda and mu. The fourth operating characteristic, average number of customers in the waiting line. Okay, example, I give another example, petrol station. This is a pump that you're going to fill in your petrol, and there's a car there in the process of filling the petrol. Then this car number 1, then there are 2 cars, then you just arrive, your car number 4. Okay, so average number of cars in the system means there are 4. There are 4 cars in the system. There are 3 cars that waiting to fill in the petrol, and then there's 1 that process of filling in. Okay, and then if number 4, average number of customers in the waiting line is only consider car number 2, number 3, number 4. So that is sort of like in the waiting line. Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay, so average number of customer, average number is, you see, average number is representing by L. L is the total number in the system. LQ, a total number of average number of customer in waiting line. There's one thing I forgot. Example, why this operating characteristic is so important. Example this. If I'm the owner of this clinic, if I calculate this, if I have this number LQ, average number of customer in the waiting line, how am I going to apply this number in my operation? Because I apply operation characteristic, I'm going to apply this number to decide. Example, you have calculated LQ equal to 5. What does it mean by 5? 5 means at any time, average number of customers that waiting to be served, okay, by the doctor is 5. So what's the implication? So if I'm the owner, what I'm going to do is I'm only going to prepare 5 chairs here. I'm not going to prepare more, maybe. I prepare 5 chairs. I'm not going to prepare less than 5. If I prepare less than 5, I know it's insufficient. You get me? So that's why That's why the operating characteristic is so important. If you know this, you know how to design your sort of facility. Number of customers in the system. From there, I know that how big is the area required for my facility. So this is how we're going to apply. So is it clear? The four characteristics. Another example. Example, airports. Airports, you have the landing or take-off. Landing. Landing is a process. Landing is a process. One per time, there's only one airplane that can do the landing process. So on top of the particular airplane that doing the landing, there'll be numbers of airplane perhaps required flying in the air, like or cycling at the airport waiting to be land. So there also the number of airplane that flying, or they call it cycling in the air in the airport, waiting for landing. So these are waiting. These are waiting. This is being served. Okay, being served doesn't mean that really physically someone is serving you. No, you see in petrol station nobody's serving you. You have to fill the petrol by your own. In the case of landing process by airplane that's landed or in the process of landing is receiving the service, and those airplane that sort of like cycling in the air are those that waiting. All right. Then characteristic number 5, average time customer spend waiting and being served. Mean customer that, I need to draw again, is it? Okay, it's okay. The time that spent by a customer waiting took the number waiting being served until it's being served. So that is W equal to 1 divided by mu minus lambda. Again, you see, it's also only involve mu and lambda. Operation characteristic number 6 is WQ, waiting time or waiting times at the queue. Average time customer spend waiting time in the queue means the time they spend. If it's a petrol station, it's the time that you spend. If you are the car number 4, then it's the time that you spend to wait until you start filling. Okay, this is WQ. WQ. Until here, this is WQ. And the time that you spend at the point you arrive until you finish the service, you finish your petrol, then this is W. Okay, this is the difference between 5 and 6. Then 7 will be quite straightforward. Okay, 1 to 6. 1 to 6 is operating characteristic from customer perspective. Oh, you see 1 to 6. Or customer. Characteristic number or OC number 7 is related to server. The probability that the server is busy means the probability that the cashier is busy. Okay, how many percent of the time that she or he will be busy is mu, it's U, which is equal to lambda divided by U. And probability that the server is either free. What is the probability? Means it's 1 minus mu, U. So these are the 8 operating characteristics that you need to know before you can go further to calculate, to compare the service and waiting cost. So that's all. Before I go ahead to do the example, to discuss the example, that's all. Okay, then we do this example together. Okay. Lambda and mu, if you want to start doing QA analysis from 0, then if you have the project doing QA analysis, then the first thing is you need to study, you need to gather data to calculate mu and lambda. Okay. So I did a project before a couple of semesters back, and then I think your super senior also worked together with me in one of the supermarket in Skudai. I think it's okay to share concept at Skudai Parade lah. They engaged me to do their queuing study. I think it's super senior lah. They work together with me. So if today you are attending an assessment in final, then it's easy. Lambda and mu will be given. But you want to start everything from zero, then you have to gather data to study what is the average customer arrival rate based on the Poisson distribution, and based on exponential distribution, what is the service rate? You have to stand beside the cashier and then take the time. You have to spend time in the store. In the particular case, concept to study the lambda. So, but in this case, it's quite straightforward. Lambda and mu are given, but even lambda and mu are given to you. Make sure the unit must be the same per hour. If I'm a lecturer, I like to torture you back, I will tell you that, oh, lambda is blah blah per hour. And then I will say that mu is yy per minute. Then you have to convert. I think one of your tutorial, you have to convert, you have to standardize the unit. This is an important thing that you must take note. You must standardize the unit first before you can apply the formula that we discussed earlier. Okay. So I want to test you now. Probability of no customer in the queuing system. Which formula is you don't need to remember or memorize the formula. You just need to know. You see, in general, what we had discussed earlier on, that formula split into three. One is probability. One is number of customer. One is waiting time. So P, you have PO, then you have PM, L, you have L and LQ, W, you have W and WQ. Okay, the first one, probability of no customer in the queuing system is what? P, L, or W? PO, because probability of zero customer, average number of customer in system, number is L or W? L, number means you start queuing, so the length of the queue, L. So number of customer in the system means is L or LQ? L only, exactly. Average number of customer in the waiting line? Exactly. Average time. Customer spend waiting and being served. Correct. Average time customer spend waiting in the queue? Probability that server is busy. You are busy. you are. Okay. So if you know this, then the formula will be given. You just need to go to the formulas. Then you replace the lambda and mu into the formula. Example, probably no customer in the queuing system. Then this is the one. The formula is this. And then what you need to do is just replace. Example, minus 24, 30. Then you will get the answer. Oh, all right. Means there'll be 20% or 0.2 probability that no customer in the system. Not bad. Mean okay lah, 20%, right? 80% there'll be customer. 80% of the time there'll be a customer in the system. So second, average number of customer in the system. So average means L lah. So what's the formula for L? Again, you just replace. L equal to lambda is 24, then 30 minus 24. This like calculating operating is not difficult. Then it's 4. What does that mean by 4? Means average there be 4 customers in the system. Okay, so if I running a shop or whatever, then I know that okay the facility no need to be too big, only 4, all right. Then C, average number of customer in the queuing line, LQ. Then look for formula for LQ. This is the one. Then again, do the same thing. 24 power 2 and then 30 minus 24. Then you will get the answer. You must make sure that you calculate correctly. So average 3.2 customer in the waiting line. So you can know that in terms of design of the area, in case you want to prepare chair, then this will be used as reference the area that require for queuing. All right. So average time is time means W. Then this is spent waiting and being served. That is W. Okay. So this is a formula. Quite straightforward, like, am I right? This one? Mm. The difficulty will be when you're reading the question, you don't know what the question asks you to calculate. That is a main problem. Lah. So, okay, the unit here is hour. Lah. So you will get 0.167. So 0.167 is hour. You need to multiply by 60 because 1 hour equals to 60 minutes. So a customer that visiting this XXX hypermarket need to spend 10 minutes queuing and being served. For me, it's quite long, 10 minutes. I don't like. I don't like. 2 minutes, 10 minutes for me is too long. Okay. Then what is E? Q. Q means WQ lah. Then you can find the formula of WQ and replace by lambda. Then 30 minus 24. Then you get, again, you need to multiply by 68 minutes. So the customer need to spend 8 minutes in the queue. If I ask you the question, how long a customer being served in the counter? What's the answer? How long it takes for a server to serve a customer?
2 minutes.
Sorry?
2 minutes.
Exactly. Because a customer need to queue by 10 minutes and being served. Queue and being served for 10 minutes. And then 8 minutes is in queue, means 2 minutes involved by the server to serve the customer. So here is on server. The previous few characteristics all are related to customer server. So it's U. U easy is lambda divided by mu. So it's equal to. So okay, not bad means if this is my store, my operator or rather my cashier, 80% of the time will be busy. Okay lah, should be. If I go further, if I put 90%, if I design 90%, then my cashier will be very, very busy. Got no time to take a break. Okay, no time to go to washroom. So maybe okay, 80%. All right. So this is the way that calculating the so-called operating statistic. Is it clear? Is it clear? Now we move to the second, but this is not the ultimate aim. The ultimate aim is example 2. Example 2, we continue for this, the XXX hypermarket. This XXX hypermarket at this moment, if Chris, you're visiting this hypermarket today, you need to spend 8 minutes for queuing. 8 minutes for queuing. All right, so this hypermarket manager want to improve, want to solve this problem of queuing. Then he wish to test 2 alternatives. He want to test 2 alternatives by reducing the customer waiting time 8 minutes. At this moment, you have to wait for 8 minutes here. So this manager saying that, 8 minutes is too long. No, I want to improve. Why he need to improve? Because he had made a comparison. He made a comparison that every single minute that customer waiting, the loss is $75. How this being calculated? I did this in concept as well. As I told you earlier, you study the consumer behavior. If the consumer is only going to be in your store for 1 hour, then if he's aware that he need to spend 8 minutes for queuing, 2 minutes for being served, total 10 minutes, perhaps you will only spend maybe 40 minutes. 40 minutes. Then he will start queue. If you able to reduce further, example, reduce to 2 minutes, then perhaps this customer is going to work around the store, look for other items to purchase, will only start queuing in minutes 55, because based on this consumer experience, he know that this hypermarket is perfect. The queuing time is only 2 minutes. So he will spend the rest of 55 minutes on buying item in your store. So the difference of this 15 minutes will cause a consumer behavior change. Instead of buying 20 items, maybe the consumer are buying things in rush. Instead of 20 items, maybe she or he only will purchase 15 items, loss of 5 items. And these 5 items cost $75 per week. So this is for your chapter, this is easy because this is given, but you really want to do a queuing line, and this is a number that we need to spend time to collect. So your super and super senior, I think, is it super, maybe 3 semesters. They're lucky, only 3 of them or 5 of them. They helped me to do this, so they went through the process. Okay, back to here. So yeah, you do a comparison, 75, oh, very high, you want to do an improvement. But there are 2 alternatives that the manager could do. Number one, alternative 1 is the manager put additional employees stand beside the cashier. And this employee will help the cashier to do packaging. Do you ever come across this type of service? Yeah, this type of design. Yeah, why they decide to do that? Because they did this type of study. Okay. Alternative 1, don't open a new counter, but put a packer standing beside the cashier, help the cashier to pack the item purchased by the customer. By doing that, okay, the service rate will increase. Instead of serving 30 customers per hour, originally serving 30, originally serving 30. Instead of serving 30 customers per hour, the help of a packer, the counter or the server can serve 40 customers per hour, increased by 10. But on the other hand, the company need to pay $150 per week for this additional employee that serve as a packer. Okay, this is the first option. Okay, but provided the packer don't continue talking to the cashier, that is what sometimes they observe, right? The packer start talking to the cashier and then slow down the process. This is alternative 1. Alternative 2 is additional counter cost 6,000. In our calculation, we will ignore the 6,000. We just opening, because 6,000 from financial management perspective, this is an asset investment. You should not take into consideration in the cut-off calculation. So to set up additional counter, or maybe to make it easier, alternative 1, put a packer. Alternative 2 is open a new counter. But opening a new counter means the hypermarket manager need to have an additional cashier. And the salary pay for the additional cashier is higher than the packer. It's 200 per week. Okay. So what is there are 2 things you need to do. One is calculate the operating characteristic for both alternatives. The question asks you to calculate the operating characteristic, mean the 8 operating characteristic for option 1 and option 2. Then subsequently make a trade-off and compare which alternative is the best. Okay, we do A first. To do A, not very difficult, because alternative 1, mu is equal to 40. How about lambda? Lambda equal to 24. Okay, you can do that. Okay, so you just replace to the 8. How about option 2? Option 2, what is the mu and what is the lambda? What the lambda is? How fast a cashier can serve? 24. So no, 24 is a customer arrival. 24 is a customer arrival. So lambda is 24. But how fast a cashier can serve a customer? 30. 30. Okay. How about lambda? A bit noisy background noise. Let me. Okay. So how about lambda? Customer arrival. Customer arrival. At this moment, customer arrival is 24, right? Am I right? So 24, if I have one counter, alternative one, I have one counter, mean all the 24 customer go to the same counter. Am I right? If I have two counter, 12 will go here, 12 will go here, right? Yeah, right? So lambda now become 12. Okay, so you have these two information, lambda and mu for alternative 1 and 2. Okay, and then you can calculate. You can calculate. So for alternative 1, lambda still the same, but you improve the mu. Customer arrival rate still stick to 24, but you improve the mu, you improve the service rate because there's one packer that stands beside the cashier to help to pack. So by using lambda 24 mu 40, I'm not going to go through one by one. This will be the characteristic that you're able to calculate. You should go and try and calculate. Okay, so this will be the one that you will get. I will not go through one by one because I think it's quite straightforward. How about alternative 2? Alternative 2, as I mentioned earlier, cashier will serve at the same rate of 30. Unlike the first alternative, alternative increased to 40 because you have one packer. Alternative 2 still additional cashier, so per cashier only can serve 30 customers. However, lambda can be divided by 2 because now you have 2 counters. Therefore, customer arrival, theoretically, customer, I think, we know when we say that when we look at the queue is too long, are you going to queue at the cashier that with long queue? No, right? You go to another cashier, am I right? So it was changed to 12, half of the arrival rate. So if you're using 12 lambda and 30 mu, then you will get this. Okay. Again, I'm not going to calculate one by one. Okay, this is very straightforward. Like example, okay, at least I calculate 1. 1 minus lambda is 12, then 30, then you'll get 0.6. Okay, all right. So we done question 1. How about question 2? Question 2, propose the best solution to the manager and justify your answer. Let's go to option 1 first, alternative 1. Alternative 1 now, by putting a packer stand beside the cashier, the waiting time has been reduced to 0.038. Earlier on, what was the waiting time? Is 8 minutes at 0.133. 0.133, yeah? So have been reduced from 0.133. 113 or 133, yeah? Anyone can remember? 133. They have been reduced 0.133 to 0.038. So to convert this into minute, you have to multiply by 60. So alternative 1 managed to reduce customer waiting time from 0.133 to 0.038. Okay, so this is option 1. There's a background noise. Okay, customer originally need to wait for 8 minutes. Okay, and then the loss will be $75 per week for each minute the customer need to wait. This will be given lah. Alternative one, additional employee, and you need to pay 150. Okay, and then from the previous calculation here, the waiting time now is improved from 0.133 to 0.038. So again, as I told you, 0.038, you need to convert into minutes because only you can compare with the original waiting time. Original waiting time 8 minutes. So you multiply by 60, you will get 2.28. Oh, that's great. The waiting time has been reduced from 8 to 2.28. So the saving will be 8 minus 2.28 times 75. This is the saving that you will get by putting a packer standing besides the cashier. Okay, reduce in waiting cost. Reduce in waiting cost. Okay, which is 429 per week. Theoretically, we believe that what is this 429? This 429 means if a customer aware that she or he need to queue for only 2.28 rather than 8 minutes, then he will spend additional minutes, work around the hypermarket, purchase more items, and ultimately the amount that's spent by the customer because of the reduction of waiting time will be 429 per week. The company is going to increase sales by 429 per week. Okay, it's very logical, I tell you. You go around, you spend more time, they will spend more money. Yeah, so the trick for you to save money is don't stay at the shopping mall for too long. Okay, so but this is not the end. Yeah, the company is going to gain 429. However, bear in mind, the company or the hypermarket need to pay 150 to the cashier. So the saving per week will be 429 minus the 150 that the company pay to the cashier per week. So end up the saving of putting a packer standing besides the cashier is 279 net saving per week. This is alternative one. Perhaps 150 too high, maybe no need 150. Yeah? Okay, how about alternative two? Alternative two is managed to. What is alternative two? Alternative two is open a new cashier and manage to reduce from 0.133 to 0.022 hour. Again, you need to sort of convert the 0.022 into minutes by multiplying 0.022 to 60 minutes. Oh, it's even better. If a cashier, open a new cashier, new counter, reduce the waiting time from 8 minutes to 1.33. So what is the benefit that enjoyed by the company is multiplied by 75. So the reduction of waiting cost is 500. Mean if the customer aware that he or she could be served or only need to queue for 1.33 minutes, then instead of 8 minutes, the tendency is per week there'll be $500. Oh, from dollar change to RM, dollar that the customer will spend or purchase the item in the store. But again, this is not the end. The company need to pay the cashier 200 per week. So 500 per week minus 200 per week. What suddenly become RM? It should be dollar. It's okay. Then, okay, the second alternative, the company is going to will save 300 net saving per week. Compared to the first is so 279 and 300. So okay, it's very clear cut. To justify your selection, you will go for alternative 2 because alternative 2 provides more saving for alternative compared to alternative 1. Okay, so go for alternative 2 lah. So
Doctor,
that is a way that I mentioned to you earlier. We have to do trade-off. Trade-off. Example, if the calculation here show that negative. Example, if the calculation here show that -5, then apply -50, then don't bother to improve the queuing. Let customer continue queuing. Okay. So
Doctor, can I ask a question?
sure, go ahead.
There is a 6,000 setup cost, right? We no need to minus that, is it? Or
No,
just
because from financial management perspective, this is the asset cost, investment cost. We are not going to calculate in our take-off
okay,
cost.
okay.
Okay. So
Okay, doctor.
okay. So this is all about the chapter. No? I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4 tutorial, and you have a very difficult task that I'm going to tell you what that you need to do is let me stop recording first. Oh, we spent 1 hour plus to talk about queuing. Okay. I would like you after the class today, try to finish as many tutorials as possible, 9, 10, 11, 14, because I'm going to discuss this tomorrow. Sorry for that, I would say, a bit rush, but I want to get the tutorial discussed tomorrow. Okay, you try to solve like, try to do as many as possible today. Okay. Any questions for this queuing theory? You need to really experience a project, like what I did in this Skudai Parade. Have you been there before, Skudai Parade? No,
Yes, doctor.
never. Why? Why? Ada yang pernah pergi? Ada kan? I think sure ada yang pernah pergi. Main boring dekat sana kan? So when with my student there, when was that? 2021, then should be before 2020. I remember before 2020. Kita collect data dekat sana, lepas tu bila dah boring, pergi ke, I think it's the top level lah, main bowling dekat sana dengan student. Oh, I still remember that. Alright, okay, so itu queuing. We're going to discuss the tutorial tomorrow. Tak ada soalan ha? Tak ada. Semua sihat? Semua ada lagi dekat sini? Anissa? Okay?
The doctor.
Okay.
Ya, doktor.
Okay ya. Alright, sekarang masa yang paling penting untuk you untuk satu semester. The most important time for you. We have done this, we have done this, except the tutorial. We're going to discuss tutorial tomorrow. We have done this. So I'm going to share with you apa yang I mean, why I'm going to highlight red. Alamak. What are the topic that you need to focus? But I think I'm not going to use it because I'm not going to tell you why. The reason is because if I try to start writing something using my pen Excel, most likely I'm going to have problem later on. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to open satu lagi mana dia? Okay, ini. What appear on the screen now? It's a teaching plan in PDF format lah. Am I right? Okay. So you see, these are the topic that we have covered this semester lah. Okay, so in test one, saya dah tanya you. Okay, enlarge a little bit. In test one, like if you remember test one, or why don't we take a look on test one first lah? Test one, then we on back to the so-called to discuss what are the topic that potentially will be assessed during your final. Unlike test two lah, test two right after the test saya discuss the solution. Tapi test one I didn't do that sebab apa? Sebab dekat test one kan ada kawan kita, member kita yang dia tak ambil test. Tapi with acceptable reason lah, no problem, I accept that. So saya tak discuss I didn't discuss the solution lah. What appear on the screen now, Chris? Test 1, both is it? Both mean the soalan dengan the question answer scheme, is it? Answer scheme? No.
No, cannot see.
Okay, luckily I asked. Answer scheme, okay. How about now? Okay. So I try to recall. I try to recall that what you did wrongly in test 1. I try to recall. Okay. Soalan 1 lah. Oh, okay. Soalan 1, I think the thing that you did wrongly was number 1 here. When you set out the constraint, you didn't take into consideration the 5%. Maksudnya kalau dia ada 3 kg, dia itu siapa? Auntie Lucy lah. Auntie Lucy, whoever that stay in JB, kalau you ada watch Singapore TV program, there's a character Auntie Lucy couple years of back. Maybe none of you know lah, because you're so young and so old, we have generation gap. You do know who is Auntie Lucy? Anyone know Auntie Lucy? Do you know? It's okay lah. Okay, so this Auntie Lucy want to buat apa roti dengan kek . So yang apa dia ada 3 kg tetapi based on experience 5% with wasted. Maksudnya 3 kg ni tak boleh pakai semua lah. Perlu tolak 5%. Okay, means. Tak ramai salah tapi ada yang salah. Yang ni tak ramai yang salah. Yang ramai yang salah saya ingat bukan dekat sini. So means yang ni you tengok. It's no more. Why I said because if I start writing on Word document, dia tiba-tiba dia boleh document, dia boleh hang. Okay, yang ini dia bukan lagi 3,000, dia dah 3,000 kali dengan 95% lah. Okay, so this is one thing that ada yang salah, tapi tak ramai juga yang salah, tak ramai. Tapi majority salah dekat sini. Dekat sini. Daripada sini. Yang 10, 5 dengan 10. And to sell at least maksudnya minimum 10, minimum 5. Dan yang kek tak boleh, kek ini minimum 5, tapi jangan lebih daripada 10. Oh, many of you tak buat penuh dah. Tak buat penuh. Tertinggal salah satu. So the solutions is something like this. Mana dia? Okay lah. X1 is cake lah. Cake minimum 5. Tapi jangan lebih daripada 10. Okay. Tak ramai yang, not many of you answer correctly, you know. A few of you, it's couple of months back, like, I try to recall, but I remember a couple of you answer in this way. I would say conceptually nothing wrong. Saya masih kasih makan, but not full mark because even though conceptually wrong, the cake must be at least 5 but do more than 10, is it? But as I told you, linear programming need to be formatted in this way in order for you to key in the QM window. So this, I didn't give you 0, but mark allocated or mark given, however not full mark. So ini yang saya boleh ingat lah dekat untuk test 1 lah. And then untuk soalan 1, sorry. Then for soalan 2 majority okay, but the one that I remember lah, yang saya sakit hati ialah ramai dah, bukan sikit. A few of you misinterpret between X2 and X1 now. Salah ini tau. X1 dan X2 tak dapat bezakan. That is the one that made me a bit surprised lah. No doubt lah, I didn't solve like explain in detail. Oh, this is S1, this is S2. Saya tak. Because I assume that you know that lah. As a result, example this line ni sepatutnya 10 dengan 2 kan. Sebab you salah interpret, you draw a line like this. 2, 10. Yang ini nasib baik sebab dia 6 masih sama lah. Ada markah. Tapi yang ini totally salah. You check your answer. Oh, your answer is with you lah. Okay, you take a look. Ada yang buat macam ni. Dan bukan seorang, 2 orang, bukan 3, bukan 4. Ramai. Ramai lah. I don't know why. So ini dia. Okay. But tak tanya lagi lah sebab dah ditanya kan. So back to this. Okay, so introduction to management science basically is nothing lah. We're not going to ask. But I will assess you on this in test 1. For those that untuk siapa yang ambil test untuk kali yang kedua sebab ada reason yang acceptable lah. I think 2 of you, is it? One from here, one from another section lah. Soalan satu dia is not the mixed product. Soalan satu dia is transportation. Tak sama, totally tak sama. So test 1 dah assess ini lah. Ini dah lah. Kalau dah ini apa cerita ni? Dah maksudnya mungkin besar kemungkinan tak tanya lagi lah. Okay, then test 2 I assess you here lah. What I assess you ini. Test 2, right? Am I right? Betul tak? Betul. And also test 2, I ask you on assignment lah. Okay, so tinggal apa yang belum saya tanya you. So, ini yang saya belum tanya. Okay. As I told you earlier, definitely semua, yang ni saya tak record lah. Saya tak record lah. Sebab ini tak boleh record. Nanti you hantar kat mana-mana sama salah. Soalan test dah finalize lah. Dah finalize. So, ada 4 soalan. So, 4 soalan ini, definitely there be a soalan in forecasting. Ini sure ada lah. Sure ada. So, in forecasting time series methods, kita belajar 4 cara nak forecast. Okay. Moving average, added moving average, exponential smoothing, adjusted exponential smoothing. Okay, lepas tu dekat sini kita pun belajar 4 cara nak calculate. We learn 4 method to calculate accuracy. So normally what I'm going to how to assess you is because we are learning time series method. So there will be a data given to you. There will be a data given to you time series, time series bulan 1, bulan 2, month number 1, number 2, and then with the quantity. Then you will be assessed on how to develop a forecast. Most of the time, going to ask you to develop the forecast using 2 of the method lah. Ada 2 method lah. Any of the 2 lah. Then subsequently it is maybe A lah, and then subsequently maybe B is going to ask you based on forecast that you develop in A, which one is more accurate? So there are 4 methods of defining the error of the forecasting. Maybe also going to ask you to compare which is better based on 2 of the method. But as I told you, tak kira lah soalan tanya method apa, buat table itu dah boleh answer. So that is forecast. So depend lah, if lecturer want to torture you, then perhaps Chris want to torture you, then the time series data I give you 20 months. Chris, then I ask you exponential smoothing, and just like, wow, that's crazy lah. Okay, but no lah, I'm not going to do that. Not 20 months lah, definitely less than 10 lah, less than 10. Then perhaps I will ask you 1 method from here and 1 method from here lah. Then you compare which one is better based on the accuracy. Ada apa nak tanya untuk forecasting? Quite clear kan? Saya quite clear lah. Decision analysis and queuing theory. For me, these 2 very straightforward. Yang ni kita belajar apa? Decision analysis. Kita belajar yang maxi, min, max, regret, Hurwitz dengan equal likelihood. So, if I ask you, definitely there'll be a payoff table that given to you lah. Payoff table. This periodic table could be 3 scenario, could be 2. Then from there you calculate. Out of the 5, maybe I ask 3 or 4. Oh, 3 or 4. Okay. Then if you know how to do a tutorial, I think not a major issue. Decision analysis for me is very straightforward. As I told you when we met first time in this module, I told you that the chapter that we covered before mid-sem break is a bit complicated. But after semester break, then it's quite straightforward. So ini for me quite straightforward. As well as queuing theory also quite straightforward. Therefore, most likely, I will combine these two into one short line. Most likely lah, tak janji ada sharing lah. Most likely. Tapi siapa yang dengan saya daripada siapa yang pernah dah ambil kelas saya, enroll pada kelas saya daripada statistik sampai quality management sampai hari ini management saya, kalau you tak dapat tangkap apa yang saya cakap itu, saya sakit hati ya. So most likely I will be combine these two. So decision analysis, payoff table, and then ask you to calculate, ask you to propose the decisions or which decision that I should go based on 3 or 4 methods lah. Yang ni pun tak susah lah. Then queuing theory kan, queuing theory definitely lambda and mu will be, lambda and mu will be given, and then I will ask you to calculate the operating characteristic. Okay, then take note of the unit, kalau sama okay, tak sama perlu tukar, tutorial ada. Then perhaps you have difficulty to understand the scenario lah. Tetapi tadi dalam kelas tadi, masa saya cerita example queuing theory, saya dah tersebut something related kepada scenario ini. Queuing apa yang perlu beratur. Saya pun ada lukis dekat slide, tapi saya takkan beritahu apa. Saya dengan tidak sengaja tersebut. So that will be something that the scenario you want to calculate operating. So these two will be combined into one soalan. So okay, then apa lagi yang saya belum access you? Very straightforward yang saya belum access you is this. I'm going to here first. Here I'm going to show you the outputs of QN window. Output of QN window. Okay. Then I will ask maybe 5 to 6 to 7 short questions. From a simple one, example, what is the decision driver? You look at the output, what is the decision driver? Then what is the constraint? What is the constraint level? What else? What is the optimum solution? Okay. Then what is the ask something about the sensitivity, ask something about the dual value. But bear in mind, I will show you the output, but the question will be not so straightforward. That example, what is the dual value? No, the question will be quite similar to those that we did in the tutorial. If this is increased by 10, what happened on the total solution? What is the impact of the total solution? So you need to understand this is purely from QM window. So if you understand the QM window output, you should be able to answer this. Okay. Then there's one more, transportation. I also not yet assess you in terms of transportation. Transportations, we learn 2 things. Right? We learn manual, how to calculate the stepping stone. We learn QM window. So the question that I ask is a mix means I know if I purely assess you using manual method, easy for you. You just key in the question into QM window. Semua keluar dekat QM window. You just copy and then become solution. Jangan harap. I know how to avoid that. So I'll be asking you. I will give you a scenario. Okay, never mind. Open the slide easy. This one I think open the slide to discuss easy. sebelum itu yang QM window itu tak payahlah. Saya dah cerita kan QM window untuk yang apa? Yang product mix. Let me which one? Simplex dengan B ha. Okay, simplex first. Okay. Apa yang appear dekat screen now? Chapter 8A kan? Okay. Secara saya duduk macam tak berapa sopan. Selalu baik-baik saya tutup ini. Sorry. So, kalau biasa dekat transportation kan, soalan transportation biasa dia macam ni kan. Biasa dia macam ni kan. This will be given, example. This will be given. This will be given, right? This cost will be given. The supply, the demand will be given. Then you start using stepping stone to calculate that. Okay. Tetapi saya dah terfikir lah, if I give you this easy, you just key into the QM window, then the solution is there lah. Therefore, soalan dia ialah mix, maksudnya not all will be given. Example, not all will be given. Certain cost will not be given dekat soalan lah. So you tak ada peluang nak key dekat QM window. Lepas itu, let me open the QM window. Then I will share, or I will share the QM window solution there. But the QM window solution there, example ini. What is the red color? What is the red color here? This is the marginal cost or opportunity cost. Okay, I will take out example. I will take out this example. I take out this. Okay. Then maybe this will be given. And then from there you have to calculate. You have to calculate what are these, and then go for that. So there's a mix. It's a mix between manual and between QM window. So in summary, you have to know both. You have to know both. QM window and manual calculation. Only you're able to answer transportation problem. Okay. You need to know the stepping stone. Kalau you do know stepping stone, you do know how to do it. Walaupun soalan nampak macam QM window, tetapi QM window itu saya remove. Dia dah bukan full solution. Then you need to fill in something. Then after filling this, you need to calculate the second. You need to calculate perhaps. I will some of the data will be given lah. Maka I need to give you certain data because saya dah tutup. I will not give you the whole data here lah. So you need to know both lah in summary. Saya tak boleh kata terang sikit. Tapi terang nanti soalan dah bocor. So it's something like that lah. Okay. Then what else? Okay. Tadi cerita QM window kan. Okay. I want to let you know. Like maybe some of you are smart lah. Most of you smart, bukan maybe. Most of you are very smart lah. So, in fact, you look at QM window. QM window also have functions of forecasting. You also can do forecasting in QM window. You also can do queuing theory in QM window. You also can do decision analysis in QM window. Tetapi, if you know, I also know, right? I also know. I strongly advise you, jangan cuba key in soalan ke QM window lepas tu copy. I tell you, you will get a different answer. Because I know how to play a trick. Soalan itu saya dah tukar. Kalau you masuk dalam example forecasting, definitely nanti you akan salah. Sebab apa yang saya tanya dekat sana, tak sama. Kalau you key, you tak akan dapat benda yang saya nak. So you don't need to try to solve like, try to learn how to do forecasting, queuing theory, decision analysis in QM window. That will not help you, will make your result worse. Sebab saya dah cuba dan saya dah tukar. Jadi kalau you key in, sebab saya tak ajar you detail kan, when you key in, you will most likely you're going to get a different answer. Alright. So no need to do that. Just follow what we learn in the class. Okay, soalan? Soalan? Tak ada soalan. Tak ada soalan. Saya ingat ada soalan, tak ada. Soalan yang projek. Projek. Ramai tanya, projek. Okey, tak apalah. Daripada soalan yang group section ini tanya dengan section 1 tanya, I think few of you lah don't know how to start lah. So what I'm going to do is tomorrow I'm also going to share with you how to do. I'm going to show the example yang very similar to your project. That how you should do your project. There are so many things we have to do tomorrow, but tutorial very fast. Tutorial should be very fast, very straightforward. So tomorrow, I will show you how to do project, but I'm not going to use your project as example. I'm going to use something that similar to your project. So I'm going to take you through, based on that, how I'm doing that. So by saying so, mula-mula sampai plan macam ni kan, if you look at the e-learning, dia ada dua submission date. One submission date is draft, another one is final. Because I thought I want you to submit a draft. Macam biasa lah, Chris. Normally is, you know me lah, in statistics, you submit to me, I check first, then you can improve lah. Okay, but this time, because I'm going to show you how to do it, so there will be no draft. You will submit your final. You submit your final. I'm going to show you something that very similar to your project, and then how I do it from start until the end lah. Then from there, you do the same thing in your project, because berdasarkan apa yang kawan-kawan lain kan yang tanya saya tu, saya dapat impression yang ramai yang mungkin tak tahu macam mana nak buat. So it's okay. I thought today saya tak terfikir hari ni boleh siap 9:35. I thought need to be 10. Kalau terfikir itu, kalau saya dapat siap 9:30 or 9:40, maybe I discuss today. But okay, we discuss tomorrow. Because our class is 12 to 1, right? You just need to sacrifice your lunch hour, right? No problem. Alright. So, apa lagi soalan? Ini clear kan? This is over lah. I shouldn't say that. I should tengok satu, dua, tiga, empat. Saya kata ada 4 soalan, lepas tu saya tunjuk 4 saja. Taklah saya mesti sengaja tunjuk satu lagi kan. Kata 5 tanya 4. Satu lagi sini, begini, kita tak pernah tanya, ini 5. Okay. 5 tanya 4, okay. That's better lah, sound better. Not to 4 tanya 4 tak bagus lah, lecturer itu tak boleh. So, 5 tanya 4, mungkin. Tapi chapter 1 itu nak tanya apa, nanti saya fikir lah. Okay. So, that's it lah. Recap lah. Soalan 1, mungkin soalan 1 juga lah. QN window output. Okay lah, sebab ada masa kan. QN window output. Apa dia QN window output? It could be... Mana dia? Okay, it could be this. Ada 2, you tengok chapter 3 dengan chapter 4. Chapter 6, sorry. It could be something yang... This is basic solution. It could be something like this. Tanya, tapi dia ada cerita lah. Dia bukan macam itu. Dia ada cerita siapa buat apa dia buat. Lepas tu tanya, apa decision yang dia perlu buat. Dia baca apa decision dia. Then label itu paling banyak berapa? Bla 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 lah. Could be this chapter 6, basic solution, decision constraint dengan dua value. You also could be, bukan could be lah, definitely. Also it could be come from chapter 7 sensitivity. Tetapi chapter 7 sensitivity, jangan harap saya akan tanya, mana tak perlu lagi. Jangan harap saya akan tanya example ini. Okay. Jangan harap saya akan tanya what is the sensitivity range for X1. Taklah. Soalan itu tak challenging langsung. Saya akan tanya something example. Example ini 40 kan? Ini 40. Originally originally 40. Example saya kata kalau harga naik kepada 50, what is the impact on the optimum solution? Something like that. Ini 40, 30, 80. Saya kata kan constraint reduce to 28, what is the impact? Something like that. Okay. So sensitivity, yeah, that is so-called one of the soalan. So dia macam ni kan. Kalau you dapat perasan 4 soalan ni ada 2 soalan yang melibatkan QM window. Transportation itu dia mix lah, separuh QM, separuh stepping stone. So dia ada 2 QM window, ada 2 manual calculation. So seperti biasa, seperti semester lepas, final exam kali ini kita juga bagi kepada 2 part 1 dan part 2. Dia sama seperti last semester lah, satu test, satu final exam ambil masa lebih kurang 5 jam kan, penat gila kan. So part 1 itu dia ada soalan, part 1 2 soalan, part 2 2 soalan. So part 1 itu ada 1 soalan QM window, 1 soalan calculation. Lepas so part 2 1 soalan QM window, 1 soalan calculation lah. So transportation, as I told you, is a mix. You need to know the manual stepping stone. You need to know the QM window output. Then forecasting very straightforward. And then satu lagi more slightly I will combine. Sebab dua ni pada saya dua ni kacang lah. This two topics, it stand alone then a bit too simple lah. Okay. Itu saja yang saya boleh share untuk final assessment. Then okay lah, tomorrow later lah I go and find an example. I try to modify your project to one example. I don't want to show your project. If I show your project, everyone will follow what I'm going to show you lah. No meaning. I will make you a project, pick another similar one. Then I will do it on the spot lah. And then you know how to do it. Okay. Saya belum masuk yang UTM dan saya belum nanti. I need to go to the your attendance you tak ada lagi lah. Sebab saya hari pagi ni saya belum log in to my UTM. How is the situation in the campus, Chris? Situation. Section 2. Section 2, siapa? Ada satu student yang Akila, section 2. Akila ada? Atau masa cuti?
Ada doktor, ada.
Ada Okay. Akila ada kan?
Ada.
Sihat lah Akila, okay? Sebab saya ingat nak tanya kalau Akila